Hello. So I just wanted to kind of talk about the core tenets of Stoic philosophy. It is similar to many other philosophies in terms of a focus on self betterment, eudaimonia, thinking about how we can improve ourselves and also help others. And so Stoicism was founded in ancient Greece, but then it did spread to Rome. Famous Stoic thinkers are Epictetus, Cicero, Marcus Aurelius, and kind of the major idea behind Stoicism is that we can achieve happiness, but happiness is connected to self, others, and our community. And happiness and virtue are intertwined. Happiness is not just about a momentary lapse of excitement or contentment in life, but it's about achieving a deeper type of happiness, a type of fulfillment, reaching your potential, living up to your goals, right? So it is the opposite of stagnation. And so with Stoicism, it's a very applied philosophy that we can integrate in our daily lives when it comes to mindfulness. It's really helpful, or it really emphasizes being able to distinguish between what we can control versus what we can't control, right? So we know, of course, that there's so many things that impact us that we can't control, but we at least can control how we react to it, and we have to be kind of mindful of how we react to things. So it requires us to engage perhaps in what Buddhism also refers to as a mindfulness, reflection. Am I living the life I want to live? Am I being the person I want to be? And am I also taking care not just of myself, but also the larger community? So there are kind of five major Stoic tenets here. And so the first one is happiness. Happiness, as I said, is eudaimonia, right? It's a deeper type of fulfillment. Of course, we recognize that having money, having successful relationships, right? Those contribute to happiness, but that's not what we're focusing on in Stoicism. We're focusing on cultivating those inner qualities, those inner ideals, that virtue that helps us achieve happiness. So of course there's external factors, but what can we do? We can cultivate inner virtues that help us navigate through difficult life situations. And so it's cultivating these inner qualities. It's about being mindful in our lives that can help us achieve happiness. The second major principle here, and this is kind of interpreted through the Modern Stoic Society, but the second major tenet here is virtue. So like I said, happiness and virtue are intertwined. And virtue is cultivating a consistent habit, a consistent character of excellence, right? So not just doing it randomly one day or saying like, oh, I am virtuous, I am wise, right? But actually embodying that lifestyle. And so there are, I would say, four major virtues that Stoics really value. Wisdom, right? So that pursuit of truth, that pursuit of knowledge. We can also think about it in terms of courage being another Stoic virtue. So knowing when we should be afraid versus knowing when we shouldn't be afraid. Justice, so trying to cultivate excellence, not just for self, but for others, living in a just society that's fair and equitable, for example. And then also moderation, so knowing when to partake in something and knowing when to not partake in something, not being excessive. So being able to control oneself, control one's urges. The third major concept here is ethical development. So Stoics believe that we all have the potential to be happy. We all have the potential to cultivate virtue. It's not just something that a few people can do just by nature, whereas other people can't. It's something that we all have the potential to do, and we have to use our reason and sociability to guide us in the correct direction. So with ethical development, it's being able to develop our natural ability to reason and our sociability. So being able to make the right choice based off of reason and logic rather than based off of emotion. The fourth important Stoic concept is emotions. So when we hear emotions, we tend to think, what? Stoicism, emotions? These don't go hand in hand. But it's more about cultivating the right type of emotions. So recognizing that there can be good emotions and that these are distinct from emotions such as passions that can divert us from virtue, that can divert us from happiness, right? Passions are about craving. They can be all-consuming. They're really difficult to control. Whereas good emotions such as wishing, right? It's, of course, you want things, but it's not letting it take over your life, or you don't feel it really intensely, right? You could want something to happen. You wish for something to happen, but you're not ruining your life, ruining other people's lives to have that happen. Another type of good emotion is caution. So knowing when you should be careful about something, recognizing what's bad versus what's good. Another positive Stoic emotion is joy. So having those pleasant emotions in enjoying something, but not focusing on like trivial matters, such as matters of indifference, things that can make us happy, external factors such as relationships and wealth, but recognizing that we may not be able to have that, but we can still be happy from a Stoic perspective. We can still experience joy in our lives. And of course, those external factors help, but they're not entirely responsible for the joy that we have. So those are kind of the major emotions that are good for Stoics. And of course, these emotions can be applied to our positive human relationships, but the relationships shouldn't be the entirety of these emotions. They shouldn't be the entirety of our lives. The next major Stoic concept is nature. So recognizing that we belong to nature as human beings, we have our own human nature, which is to be rational and sociable, even though we don't always act that way. And then recognizing that we belong to a universe, a universal nature, which is meant to be stable, meant to have structure, meant to have order. And then also recognizing that human nature, we as individuals are a part of that human nature, and also we're a part of that universal nature. We're not kind of separate from it. And also recognizing that we are a part of a human community. So care for self also needs to include care for others. So recognizing that our nature is not just individualistic, but it's part of a universal nature, and we belong to a community of humans. And so recognizing these tenets, I think, can help people achieve that eudaimonia, can help people achieve that happiness and that ability to control things and be mindful. So those are just kind of the general major ideas of Stoic philosophy that we can apply to our everyday lives.